produce all of the food in the world. It doesn't come from any place else. But we don't determine what happens to any of it. They use it against us. And when I say they, I want to be very specific. The rich. The rich use it against us. And we don't receive any of the benefits of what we create. We are driven into poverty by the wealth that we create because they control that. We think that this fight that is taking place in India has to be shared with workers and farmers throughout the United States as well as throughout the world. Our candidates all over this country, we have candidates of the Social Workers Party running from various offices, are going to workers that are involved in struggles, in strikes that are here, in struggles, in lockouts that are here. The movement against police brutality, and beginning to talk about some of these issues and why it's important and why we have to link up with each other to understand what is going on. Again, we produce the wealth of the world. We are regarded as garbage. We're regarded as disposable until we stop, until we draw their attention with our massive ability to come together and unite. That's what the Indian farmers are doing. The lessons are so important for everybody to get through and to understand. And that's why, we're here. I'm a resident of D.C. Welcome to D.C. So glad to have you here. We want you to come back. We want you to help to mobilize us. And we will do everything in our power to get out the information on this struggle. We want you to speak to our meeting. Understand your importance. I know you do. Understand your importance, not just to yourself, but to what's going on in the world and what we have to achieve. Okay, thank you for inviting me to speak.
Loud. Please give it up for James Harris, please. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Next, I want to introduce. I'm honored because when she reached out and she told me she's from California and she's flying out just for this, it was a very big honor because she actually, I don't know if anybody watched the Fresno Super Bowl commercial? Anybody saw that Fresno? So she was behind it as well as her team. So please, Rod Sodi, please can you come to the stage? And your daughter can come with you too so you can go next.
Good afternoon. So greetings from Fresno, California. I am an agricultural lender in the Central Valley, the breadbasket of the world. Today is about awareness in America. Can you imagine the population of California is about 40 million people, right? Can you imagine 6 times that on strike? I just can't imagine that. So there's 1 million people on the streets, as you've heard, and unfortunately we've had 300 deaths. The synergy between the farmers in America and the farmers in India goes back to George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Quote, "If you don't have your roots in farming, you are not grounded." My farmers, my clients, they own 10 acres, 20 acres, 40 acres. They are the small farmer, and they are showing signs of struggle. And this really hits home for me. Crop prices have decreased, expenses have gone up. The pandemic last year, they couldn't export their crop to China or to India. So it's going to get a lot tougher for the small farmer in the Central Valley. The difference is our country, as mentioned earlier, offers our farmers financial assistance. The SBA offers SBA EIDL loans. Unfortunately, India doesn't want to help the small farmer. There's a group in California called PAAG, P-A-A-G. It's a fairly new Growers Group, and they're trying to create efficient ways to help the small farmer grow different types of crops so that not everyone is growing almonds and raisins and pistachios. Perhaps we need to move into a different arena. Fresno County contributes $7 billion towards the GDP. California contributes $50 billion towards the GDP. You know who's second? The film industry out of Hollywood. They're second to the farmers. And as I mentioned earlier, 5 years ago, the average farm in the USA was 330 acres. The small farmers in America are the hardest working group of people I know, from dusk to dawn, and God bless them. You probably saw the 30-second Super Bowl ad out of Fresno. We also did a national ad in 21 major cities, and from that, I received, unfortunately, some very threatening emails, as you can imagine, from the opposition. And so one of the gentlemen said, "You're spreading lies out of the Bay Area." One of them said, "You don't love India." Well, I want those people to know I love India. I love India because my blood is Indian. My grandparents, my bibi and my baba and my nani and my nanaji, they were proud Sikh Punjabi farmers. I loved my grandparents and I loved my parents. Their history and heritage belongs to all of us. The Sodhi and the Hoti families are like so many across America and across the world. When India says to us, stay out of our issues, makes absolutely no sense to me. They obviously don't know the size of the diaspora across the world. It does affect all of us. 300 deceased. How many more have to die before the Indian government decides to listen to its own people? 1 million people on the streets. We need America to wake up, hear us, help us. The president and the vice president need to listen to us. And in conclusion, I just want to mention something very, very, very important about the Sikh religion and women. Guru Nanak said over 500 years ago, from woman, man is born. Within woman, man is conceived. To woman, he is engaged and married. Woman becomes his friend. Through woman, the future generations come. When his woman dies, he seeks another woman. To woman, he is bound, so why call her bad when she gave birth to kings of kings? So, we stand with farmers, we stand for humanity, we stand for our future. No farmers, no food. Let's stand united. This fight is not over. Thank you.
You guys gotta give a bigger round of applause for that. What she's doing in California is just amazing. And speaking of people doing work, my brother right here, Karanveer Singh, he actually was on the ground for a couple of months, and now he's back in the United States, trying to create awareness in front of the White House. So he's a very informative speaker, very educated speaker, and we would love for him to talk about MSP and other topics he would like to cover right now.
Wajju Khalsa, Wajju Ki Fateh. Long live the farmers! Long live!
Farmers!
Long live the revolution! Long live!
Revolution!
So we stand for the same values that the office behind us, which is the most powerful office in the free world. So we are here to urge to Mr. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and the distinguished members of the Congress of the democracy that helps and has upheld the values of freedom, justice, liberty, and equality throughout the world. So we are here to request the American public and the elected officials to please raise their voice for the inhumane treatment of the people protesting in India, for Indian farmers, for food security. So as you know that it's our human right to have access to food. That's the basic human right. All living organisms, whether they're horses, whether they're dogs, whether they're any animal, anyone living should have access to food. So as you know, 45% of children sleep without food in India every day. We rank as a 94th country on the hunger index of the Human Development Indexes that are released by United Nations. We still are fighting with hunger, and we think that we would be the superpower of the world. How are we going to build a future where our children don't have food to eat? So this is a very shameful fact that India has become the suicide capital of the farmers of the world. More than 400,000 farmers have lost their life in just 15 years. So is there something wrong? So have you guys heard about the word MSP? As one sister over here from American University mentioned, the minimum support price. It's like minimum wage. Asking for MSP is not a political issue. It's not a partisan issue. It's not a religious issue. It's not a socialistic issue. It's not a communistic issue. It's a human right issue. We want food for our families and our kids. We don't want anybody to sleep hungry at night in this world. That is what the Shan stands for. That's what American flag stands for. That's what we stand for. We are sons and daughters of farmers who have no religion, no political affiliation. They have only one duty to fulfill, to feed the world. We farm, you eat. We farm,
you eat.
We farm,
You eat.
We farm,
You eat.
So we will go into what exactly is this farmer protest about, because many people don't know about the three laws and what is the second demand, which I think is the first most major demand, which has been going on for 25 years. MSP, minimum support price. So these are the two basic things that everybody is fighting for in India. So the three farm laws, which in the first place should not be called farm laws, because there's nothing related to farming in these laws. They are trade and commerce bills. They should be called Adani and Kalas. There's nothing for the farmer in these laws. It is a propaganda. It is a marketing scam by the government of India to call them farm laws. So the first law, which talks about the mandi, the market that we've been talking around. So I will just give you a brief definition of a free market, because you guys over here know what free market is. Probably the economists in India, they know it too. But the government of India doesn't care to ask an economist what is a definition of a free market. Just imagine if we have New York Stock Exchange as a free market where Amazon could sell their shares, Facebook could sell their shares. Anybody could buy the share price, could buy the share at the market price, which is regulated by demand and supply. You could buy one share for the same price. You could buy 100. You could set up a conglomerate with your family and friends and buy 1,000, million. You would get the same price. But that's not the case with the so-called free market that this Indian government is trying to create with this new policy. They're trying to split an existing market into multiple markets. They're trying to kill the Food Corporation of India, which sets up these mandis or markets, as we call them, throughout the country. So the matter of fact is this, that in 1965, we were fighting a war with one of our neighbors, and we had still not come out of the famines of the World War II, because the yield per acre was very low. We didn't have a regulated economy. We were just born like 15 years ago. So we were still fighting, and one of our allies in the free world refused to give us wheat and crops because they allied with our enemy state at that time. So Lal Bahadur Shastri, the most honest, the most honorable Prime Minister that India has ever had, he gave the slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Hail the farmer, hail the soldier. We will fight with hunger and we will fight with the enemy at the same time. And the Indian Army under the flag of Nishan Sahib that you see here, which is a flag of humanity and not a flag of any political idea. We fought under this flag. We defeated the enemy. We got Green Revolution. Punjab and Haryana, like brothers, fed the country. They together became the wheat bowl, the wheat basket of India. We wasted our water, polluted our soils with dangerous fertilizers. We've become the most cancer area with most cancer patients in India. We put ourselves on the line for the country. And these people, these thankless, ingratitude filled terrorists sitting in the Parliament of India, we call them, how dare you call us terrorists? We have the most sons and daughters laying life for our motherland in any page of the history. So the first bill, as we talked about, is the free market that India government assumes is a free market, but is the new scam to victimize families, take away food from kids, and there's nothing free market about it because there's no minimum support price. Because all the three bills tie up to minimum support price. There's no point of having a market when there is no price for your goods. We ask the government to give minimum support price as the starting bidding price for all the crops, not just 23 crops that they declare the prices for. So Modi ji, Prime Minister, he says MSP was always there, MSP will always be there, and MSP will always remain. Look at this scammy statement. They only declare MSP for 23 crops out of more than 650 crops which are grown in India. They buy only 6% of wheat and rice which is grown in Haryana and Punjab only because of the quality of produce that we have. So just imagine, they're saying that MSP is always there. They are trying to scam us by telling that they declare MSP on 23 crops is equal to buying all 100% of those 23 crops at that price, which is not the case. They only buy 6% to 16% of the produce, depending on how much they want, and for the PDS, which is the public distribution system for people living under below poverty line. So Indian government only buys 6% of the crop from Punjab and Haryana, which is the most progressive states in Indian agriculture right now. So Punjab and Haryana, they don't need to basically have to be on the forefront because it's the right thing to do. They are leading this protest. They have always done that. They've always stood up for the right thing. So coming to the second law, which is the Essential Commodity Act of 1955, which has been amended. So this bill, passed in 1955 for the protection of the consumer. So there would be no big corporations trying to, create a monopolistic market. And an analogy for this would be that, we have antitrust laws in America. When a corporation gets bigger than like 50% of the market, they try to become, through coalition or through oligarchy, a system of being the price makers, being the people who control the price of the commodity by hoarding the crops, the produce, or, just releasing the produce at the time of buying. So there's so much supply in the market, so the farmers could not get the price. So it is a scam that they're doing. So with this law only, with the Essential Commodity Act amendment only, this only law is so dangerous that it will take away from all the people who earn less than 100,000 rupees a year. And I'll tell you a fact. The median income of an Indian farmer is 2,700 rupees, which equates to 30 bucks. And the irony of the situation is, like, I would give you a brief example about, a Grameen Bank, Muhammad Yunus, who floated the site, Bangladesh, he's been working since 1974. It talks about right to credit. The way we have right to food, small farmers, small businesses should have right to credit. Because these people are charging 4% interest on these farmers every month. 200,000 rupees loan, age less than 45. These two criteria alone have the highest suicides. Farmers, like young farmers, are committing suicide the most. That's the most dangerous fact. And the contract farming bill, which is the third bill, that's so dangerous. They want to grab our lands. Have you all guys seen that movie Gone with the Wind, 1939? Did you hear what Scarlett said? That I don't care about the plantations, Dad. I don't care about the food, whatever. Her dad told her that land is the only thing worth dying for, because it was the only thing that will ever remain. So they're trying to grab our lands. There would be no freedom. So third law, the lands from the farmers. And I really appreciate all the Sangat, New York Sikh Council, different organizations, Sangat from New Jersey, Virginia, Sikh Sangat, Maryland, Washington, D.C. Yeah, and organizations like Khalsa Aid, United Sikhs, Sarvadapala, all the organizations that have been on the forefront of this movement. We cannot imagine a movement this bigger without, American Sangat. So I will say that, home of the brave, land of the free has always stood up for the right thing and will continue to do so. So I want to introduce to you our next speaker, Uncle Ji. So because, ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਦੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਛੱਡਣੀ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ. There is no culture without agriculture. If we forget our cultures, if we destroy our cultures, that's the most important thing for our community. So Uncle Ji, Harjeet Singh Hundal Ji from Virginia has been coming every day to support us on the North Lawn in front of the White House, Black Lives Matter Plaza, where this protest has been going on continuously since the last 11 days. So I'll hand over to Uncle.
Thank you very much. ਧਰਤੀ ਮਾਤਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਗਾਲ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਠਾ ਲੈਨੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਖੋਈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਧਰਤੀ ਮਾਤਾ। ਦੋਸਤੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਆਏ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। 2-4 ਮਿੰਟ ਚ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮੁਕਾ ਲੈਣੀਆਂ। ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਿੱਲਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹੋਏ ਸਾਡੇ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ ਭਰਾ, ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਭੈਣਾਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਕੌਣ ਦਊ? ਅੱਜ ਮੰਡੀਆਂ ਖਤਮ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਬਿਹਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੰਡੀ ਖਤਮ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਆ ਔਰ ਬਿਹਾਰ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ, ਬਿਹਾਰ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦਾ, ਬਿਹਾਰ ਦੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਦਾ ਹਾਲ ਵੇਖੋ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਹਰ ਫਸਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ, ਝੋਨੇ ਦੀ ਫਸਲ ਹੋਏ, ਕਣਕ ਦੀ ਫਸਲ ਹੋਏ, ਬਿਹਾਰ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦਿਹਾੜੀਆਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਔਰ 70,000 ਰੁਪਈਆ ਕਮਾ ਕੇ ਵਾਪਸ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਬਰਦਾਸ਼ਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬਦੋ ਬਦੀ ਇਹ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਠੋਕੇ ਜਾਣ। ਦੋਸਤੋ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿਣੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਪੇਟ 'ਚ ਦਰਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਵਾਈ ਦੇ ਪੇਟ ਦਰਦ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਬਦੋ ਬਦੀ ਖਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ਦਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬਦੋ ਬਦੀ ਇਹ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਠੋਕੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ ਪਾਗਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ ਸੁਲਝੇ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਨੇ। ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਨੇ, ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਬਣ ਗਏ, ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਬਣ ਗਏ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਕੀ ਨੇ, ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਕੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਦੇਣੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਇਹ ਬਿੱਲ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਮਾਰੂ ਨੇ, ਫਾਰਮਰ ਮਾਰੂ ਨੇ, ਉੱਥੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਵਰਗ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀਆਂ ਮੰਡੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਣਕ ਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ, ਝੋਨੇ ਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੇਬਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ, ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 18 ਲੱਖ ਦੇ ਕਰੀਬ ਲੇਬਰ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੇਰੁਜ਼ਗਾਰ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ। ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮੰਡੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਆ, ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਦਾ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਖਤਮ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3700 ਦੇ ਕਰੀਬ ਮੁਲਾਜ਼ਮ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਬੇਰੁਜ਼ਗਾਰ ਹੋਣਗੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਕੌਣ ਪਾਲੂ? ਕੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਇਹ ਗਰੰਟੀ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਆ? ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਰੈਵਨਿਊ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 4000 ਕਰੋੜ ਹੈ। 4000 ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਇਆ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਰੈਵਨਿਊ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਝੋਨੇ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਕਣਕ ਦੀ ਫਸਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ। ਜਿਹੜਾ 4000 ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਇਆ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਹੂਲਤ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਖਰਚਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਸਹੂਲਤ ਆ? ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਪੱਕੀਆਂ ਮੰਡੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਦੀਆਂ ਸੜਕਾਂ ਬਣਾਉਣੀਆਂ, ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਕਰਨਾ, ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਕਰਨਾ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨਾ। ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ, ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ, ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਫਾਰਮਰ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਤਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਹੋ। ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯੰਗ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਡੀਸੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਵਾਈਟ ਹਾਊਸ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਫਾਰਮਰ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸਟੇਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਕਈ ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਬਿਜਲੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੱਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਡਰੇ। ਮੈਂ ਅੱਜ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਧਾਂਜਲੀ ਵੀ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 307-8 ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਪਾ ਗਏ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਲਾਪਤਾ, ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਲਾਪਤਾ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਿਹਾਈ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਨੂੰ, ਵਾਈਸ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਹੱਥ ਬੰਨ ਕੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਦੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੇ, ਕਦੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਵਾਈਸ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਦੇ। ਔਰ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਆ ਕਿ ਦੂਜੇ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਐਸੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਦਖਲਅੰਦਾਜ਼ੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ, ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦਖਲਅੰਦਾਜ਼ੀ ਦਿਓ ਕਰੋ, ਔਰ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਪਾਓ ਕਿ ਜ਼ਿਮੀਂਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਿੱਲ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਸੰਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਰੋ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Next couple of speakers we have all from New York City. They are young Javak from Sansag Gurdwara, and we always say about youth empowerment. We always say that. However, when it's time to empower the youth, we take a step back. But what I love about Sansag Gurdwara and the Sangat, they always take a step forward in this direction. Almost everybody from that Gurdwara. It's the Sangat Gurdwara. I really appreciate that. So from their Gurdwara, we have Sahib Jot Singh, Jaskirat and Ikjot. So please.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today I just want to start off with a little introduction to everything that's going on in India about farmer protest. So, what is one thing that all living things need in life to live? A food source. And for us, our food source comes from where? The farmers. And as the farmers advocate Brenda Shope had once said, once in your life you need a doctor, a lawyer, a policeman, and a preacher. But every day, 3 times a day, you need a farmer. Now imagine a world where farmers fail by deregulating trade and undermining the existing state's court systems that serve farmers. The 3 farm laws are the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Act, the Farmers Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act, and the Essential Commodities Act. These laws devastate the livelihood of farmers trying to make a peaceful living in India. At the end of the day, farmers don't get the recognition that they deserve for providing the world with the necessary means of living.
There's a global pandemic going on right now, and it has taken the lives of millions of people. This pandemic doesn't stop the farmers from fighting for their rights, and it won't stop us from supporting them. We must stand together and fight against this injustice. Over the last 3 months, about 300 people have lost their lives, and the Indian government does not care about a single one of those lives taken. We must stand together and fight against this injustice. United we stand! United we stand! United we stand! Together! United we stand! Bole
Thank you. We're really grateful, especially to all the young, people who have come on their own, especially from Midwest, West Coast, everybody. So a small, tribute to the women because it's the International, Women's Day month. So agriculture in India could not be imagined. Actually, I mean, we cannot imagine the country India or any country without the contribution of women. Women been really instrumental, in every aspect of agriculture, whether that's tilling the land, even they drive tractors now. The protest is being led by women on so many fronts. In Haryana, Rajasthan, Punjab, we have leadership. So we would like to apne sare mata bhena bibiyan New York to mata ji aajo. So mata ji Sarabjit Kaur and all sare hor to ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨਗੇ. So please ਤੁਸੀਂ aajo ji sir.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ
ਇੱਥੇ ਰੱਖ,
ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ
ਇੱਥੇ ਰੱਖ।
ਜੈ ਜਵਾਨ,
ਜੈ ਜਵਾਨ,
ਜੈ ਜਵਾਨ,
ਜੈ ਕਿਸਾਨ।
ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ, ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ।
ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ।
ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਸਪੁੱਤਰ ਤੇ ਸਪੁੱਤਰੀਆਂ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਨਾਲ ਲੜਨਾ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਝੁਕਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਅਗਰ ਝੁਕ ਸਕੀਏ। ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕ ਲਈ ਲੜ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਹੱਕ ਲਈ ਲੜਾਂਗੇ ਵੀ ਔਰ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਰਹਾਂਗੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਹਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਨਾਂਗੇ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪ ਡਟ ਕੇ ਰਹੋ ਔਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਔਰ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ, ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ, no food, no food,
No farmers।
ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ।
ਇੱਥੇ ਰੱਖ,
ਜੈ ਜਵਾਨ, ਜੈ ਕਿਸਾਨ, ਜੈ ਜਵਾਨ,
ਜੈ ਕਿਸਾਨ।
ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਪੰਥ ਕੀ ਜੀਤ, ਪੰਥ ਕੀ
ਜੀਵੇ
ਰਾਜ ਕਰੇਗਾ,
ਖਾਲਸਾ,
ਰਾਜ ਕਰੇਗਾ
ਖਾਲਸਾ।
ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ,
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Jukara Oje for all the ladies, all the women of this revolution. Leadership, woman.